السلام عليكم. السلام علي. السلام عليكم. Khalid, sit down. Yes. Assalamu alaikum. So we're gonna start the program, inshallah. On behalf of ISGH, we welcome Sister Hidayah. Sister Hidayah. Here is a biography. I'm just gonna read it because. So Sister Hidayah, she received her Bachelor of Science in Psychology from Bethune-Cookman in Daytona Beach, Florida. And then she has a Master of Science in clinical mental health counseling from Georgia, mashallah. And Sister Hidayah has experience working in several areas with diverse population, including early childhood behavior specialist, crisis intervention specialist, and clinical mental health counselor for children and families. MashaAllah. So Sister Hidayah has served as an advocate for the Atlanta Muslim community, working alongside with Inner City Muslim Action Network. It's called Iman. And ICNA Relief, and also you all know ICNA, to provide affordable, accessible health education and counseling services to the growing Muslim community. So, and Sister Hidayah now continues to offer her specialties in depression, anxiety, and trauma recovery, and identity development to the Lewiston, Auburn, and greater Portland area. So we welcome Sister Hidayah. Then without further ado, I'll let her add something if I forgot. Oh, I forgot. The subject today is how to foster the relationship between parents and children, talking about mental issues. 3 weeks ago we had a psychologist, and now we have mental issues. What's going on with behavioral?
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum. So wonderful to see you all here. It's really a blessing that you all come out to these events for your own families, for yourselves, and for our community. Inshallah, as the brother said, we will be covering how to foster healthy parent-child relationships. So to begin, I want to set our intentions first and foremost. Always make dua. We want to send prayers, of course, to our ummah around the world and for our families and for ourselves, and ask Allah to grant us ease in hardships. Ameen. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. So this is a workshop. It's a little different than how we usually have someone come and they just talk. This is not that, okay? I'm going to warn you now. All right, I'm going to ask you guys questions. Inshallah, you guys will give me some answers. Do not be shy. We're all here to engage with each other and inshallah learn from each other. You all have just as much information to share as I do, inshallah. So remember that I said that. When I ask these questions, I want to see some hands, some engagement, inshallah, okay? Okay? Haha, here we go. Okay, we're practicing early, all right. Inshallah. Okay, so the purpose of this workshop is so that we can leave with some knowledge and some understanding of the components of a healthy relationship, the challenges that we have in those relationships, and how we can correct them. So before we go into what to do about a problem or an issue, we have to understand what the issue is. We have a solution, but we don't know what the problem actually is, right? So I always like to start these workshops with making sure we understand what we're talking about in general. And though it seems simple, parent-child relationship, we all probably know relationships are far from easy, right? They take work, they take a lot of things put into it. So, what is a parent-child relationship? It's not a trick question, it's literally in the name. What is a parent-child relationship? Good, yes. Someone said communication. Listening, yes, excellent. You guys are already ahead, mashallah. Simpler than that, it's just a relationship. Take out the parent-child dynamic, it is a relationship. What comes into a relationship requires two entities, two sides of the relationship, right? Not just one and not just the other, okay? So if it's a relationship, aside from the power dynamic, can we agree that a parent-child relationship has a similitude of a power dynamic? What do you all think about that? When I say a power dynamic, what is that? Yes, define power dynamic. Please.
So, like the parents usually the authoritative figure in the family, the child's more like subservient.
But that's natural, right? You are the parent, you have more experience. Naturally, you would be the one that has more say in that relationship. Aside from that dynamic, if you separate that for a moment, we have a relationship that requires basic components. Like any other relationship requires basic components. So we're going to start with those things first. Someone over here, the sisters already got a couple answers up on you guys. They already named a few of them. So thinking about what's considered a healthy relationship, we have someone that named, I'm going to come to the board because I want to make sure I write down the answers. Inshallah. So, wow. Let's see if I can tie this to myself. Okay, I think we're good. Okay, so we have the parent-child, right? Please don't make fun of my handwriting. I don't write for a living. Okay, so the basic components of a relationship. This is the relationship. And then there are very basic things that are required within a relationship. So one of the sisters said communication. And then another person said listening. So I want to start with this one. Again, don't make fun of my handwriting. It's not very great. Communication. Can we get some feedback on what that would look like in a normal relationship? What is that requiring in a normal relationship? Any relationship? Talking and listening, yes. So talking, listening. So we have listening here, talking as well. What would be the importance of communication in a relationship? Understanding, absolutely. Understanding. So if we communicate to understand, what else can come from good communication? What else can we put there for communication? Expectation, expressing yourself. Expectation is a huge one. Expectation. Expression, yes, expression. What else comes to mind for communication? Say again, sorry. Transparency, absolutely. So also that makes me think of honesty. Trust, yes. So I'm going to actually put that. So I'm going to put trust, and then transparency and honesty. Transparency, honesty. We're only talking about a regular relationship. We haven't even atoned it to a parent-child relationship yet. Can we agree so far that these also would apply to a parent-child relationship? Yeah. Awesome. There's a few more. What else comes to mind with a relationship? Communication is huge. Responsibility. Wow, yes. What else do we have in mind? We had trust, we had honesty, understanding, communication. There's a huge one. Respect, yes. Good. Respect. There's another one that is even more important. Ah, yes. Were you going to say that? What were you going to say? That's huge, yes. And the one that is really at the core of any relationship is love. Yes, love. Just drawing lines at this point. Safety. What else comes to mind? Anything else that you all think of when it comes to relationships? Say it again for me. Submission? A submission, sorry. I can't hear you very well, I'm sorry. Oh, what he said. So being able to, so if they're talking to you, you'll be able to understand what they're saying. Yes. How can we term that one? I think self-esteem, yes. So I think for that one, I think maybe we can say understanding would go under that. What do you think? Is that close? Kind of? Patience. Woo, yes. Oh my goodness. Patience. Oh my goodness. Patience. Sabr. Allah. Security. Yes, someone did say safety. I'm going to put that right next to there because that is also very true. Beautiful. Yes, roles. So we have responsibility. Do you think that would kind of, it can be, I'm going to put that to the side of it. Roles and responsibilities. That's important. Values. I heard something. Values. Anything else come to mind? Say again? Common goals. Okay, I'm going to put that one here. Common goals. These are wonderful. Common goals. You all are doing amazing. Do you guys need me? Are you sure? I don't know. What else comes to mind for relationships? Money. Now we're getting very specific. Okay. Can we kind of think that these ones are some of the core principles of a relationship? Yes. Did I write that on? I did. Okay. It's not cute, but it's there. Got it. I know. Twice, right? Yes. Double it. Times 2. Okay. Fear. Interesting. Say more about that. Fear. Yeah, I'm going to add that. That's very interesting. I'm going to say more about that later, so I love that you brought that up. Fear. I'm going to put a little star there. Anything else that we can think of for relationships? Or did we cover a good amount in just these words? We think we're good? Okay, inshallah. Wonderful. So out of these ones, are there any up here that you see that might be particularly challenging in regards to not just any relationship, but maybe a parent-child relationship? Patience. Oh my goodness. Yes. Respect. Communication, trust, understanding, love, all of it. Big circle around the whole thing. Anything else that you guys think might be particularly difficult? So, listening. We're going to leave that one for communication, transparency, values. I think that's good too. We're going to circle values and common goals for that one. So I heard listening. Listening we're going to tie to communication. Transparency and honesty, that kind of ties into trust. That ties to everything. What else kind of stands out? Anything in particular? These are some big ones. These are the big ones. These are the big ones. Rules, 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 rules. Where did we put that one? We didn't put that one up there. Responsibility and roles. Okay, I think that's a good one. We're gonna put that here. Rules. With rules, why do we have rules? Why would we need rules in place for a parent-child relationship? To set expectations. What about for guidance? Preventative, yes. What do you guys think about, we have those for guidance, right? We have responsibility and roles. We have rules for a reason, not just to be mean, right? Not just to be the bad person in the room, but it's for guidance, right? So I'm going to put that here, and then I'm going to circle guidance, because that's a huge one in this type of relationship that's unique to this type of dynamic. Guidance. Beautiful. These are big ones. So now that we've opened up our conversation, we're going to have a little bit of a activity, and we're going to focus this activity primarily on communication. Before we do the activity, I want to hear feedback on why, more about communication. I really want you guys to think in regards to relationships, why communication would be so important. Communication, we have listening here, we have expectations, understanding, values, respect, patience, all of that. How do I tell you about all of those things? With words. I have to speak to you. I have to convey a message to you for you to understand my values, my roles, for you to understand my rules, for you to understand I'm losing my patience. Okay? You have to have communication. Communication is the core, one of the cores of any relationship. Any relationship. So we want to put that in a dynamic of a parent-child relationship. But before we do that, I want to practice a communication exercise amongst ourselves. So we're going to just partner up. If it's uneven, we can do threes. But you guys can just do the person next to you or however is easiest. You don't have to move around if you don't want to. But if you guys want to get really interactive and really engaged, I encourage you to stand and be interactive and engaged with each other. Find either a partner or three people, as long as it's pretty even. And what you do in this dyad is what we call it, or this group, this small group. One person is going to speak about something that they really like or that they really love. The other person is not going to say anything. Nothing. You just sit there, maintain eye contact, be open, and listen. The other person will speak, and they will speak for about 1.5 to 2 minutes. So pick something you can talk about for 1.5 minutes or so, inshallah. So you guys go ahead and you can turn to each other. Any topic. Don't make it too serious. We don't want to be talking for too long, but any topic that you're comfortable speaking about, that you enjoy, can be work or a hobby, anything like that, inshallah. So you guys go ahead, pick your person, and when I see everybody is kind of in place, I will start the timer, okay? Inshallah. Okay, salam alaikum. Excellent job, everyone. You all are great communicators. MashaAllah. Excellent communication. I saw in here. I saw a lot of great communication skills. So inshallah, I want us to come back to center and I want us to kind of reflect on what that experience was like to have someone sit across from us and give us our full attention. So inshallah, please share, brothers, how that experience was for you. I saw a lot of good examples of what we call active listening. So please share how that experience was for you all. Say again? Respected, yes. Please, any more reflections? Engaged, yes. Brothers? Be nice, be nice. They did very well. They understood. Helpful, I heard. Engaged, respected, helpful. Any other reflections? Heard? Focused. Any other reflections? Emotional. Beautiful. Say again? Agreed. So you felt like they understood you. Yes. Any other reflections on that activity? Positive energy. Yes. Empowered. Say more about those two. I heard empowered and positive energy. Say more about that feeling. Like what about it made you feel empowered? Mm-hmm. That you what? That you believe in. Yeah. So they said empowered, and someone said having positive energy. Someone said respected, engaged. Stress relief. Meeting someone new, yes. MashaAllah, wonderful. So what we did, what we really focused on, why do you guys think I asked you for one person to be completely silent and just listen? With full attention. To make sure there's a recipient, to make sure someone is receiving it. Why else do you think that might be important for communication? Yes. One listens, one talk. Now what is the difference? If someone is, yes please. Okay. I was going to say, what is the difference if you have the same conversations between each other and the person interjected you in the middle of your thought, something that you wanted to share, that you were passionate about sharing, and they hopped in and said, I don't know what you're talking about, but it doesn't make any sense. They wouldn't feel as empowered. It wouldn't feel that respect, right? Not respected. You wouldn't feel positive energy. You wouldn't feel heard or listened to. It's a turn off. Say more about that. It's a turn off.
You feel like you're being disrespectful because you're not listening to it. Wasting your time.
Wasting my time. I don't want to talk anymore at that point. Why waste my breath? Why share my thoughts? Why share anything? How would this apply in a parent-child relationship? Does it apply, you think?
Yes, sure.
Yes. Now imagine, let's put it let's make it reality. You have your young one, and they come to you, and they're talking about something that probably is not super exciting to you. Something all the time. Roblox. Literally anything. Even if you have no clue what they're talking about. Even if they just said it 10 minutes ago. And they say it every single day. That's why we put patience on the board, right? So how do we handle that when we're just like, our communication is maxed out. We're done with the communication for the day or for the moment. What do we do? Write it out? That's good. Wallahi, that's good. Say again? Turn them off? How do you turn them off? Please, I need that secret. What do we do? Postpone the conversation. What would that look like, postponing the conversation? Would I just say, Please be quiet. I go do something else. Rain check. I don't have time. Be quiet. Shh. That's how we usually do, right? That's reality. That's reality. Because we've probably done a million things that day. We just got home from work, and they come to you and they're chat, 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 chat. Or you're in the middle of doing something, and they come to you and they want to tell you something. They're so excited. And it's not that we don't want to listen to them, right? It's not that we don't care about what they have to say. It's just maybe at that time, it's not the right time. How do we convey that to a child, though, without making them feel disempowered, disrespected, not being heard? How do we still uphold those same positive feelings that we just experienced for those young ones? How do we do that? It's not as easy as it sounds, because we're human beings. It takes practice. It takes compassion for yourself. But he said the perfect thing. It takes practice and awareness, and it takes slowing down. How hard is it for us as parents to slow down when we have to go to work? We come home, take them to school, make this, da 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 da, on and on and on. It's difficult to do those things. And it won't be perfect every single time. In the spirit of communication, if it's not perfect every single time, what can we still do? And that sounds so weird, doesn't it? Because we go back to that dynamic, right? That power dynamic. I'm the parent. Why would I apologize to this tiny human? It's a human. It's a human. If you think about it, it's a human, not a tiny human. With feelings. So much sensitive feelings at that. Who doesn't know that you're tired from work. Who doesn't understand that you're busy. They just want to share this thing with you because they're excited. And you're their favorite person. And they want to share it with you. They don't care about any of those things. They don't even know about it. How we communicate is more important than what we communicate. If you are tired of hearing them talk, that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. How do we tell them, I'm tired of hearing you talk? Someone said we can write it. They can write it down. They can come back later. You can simply say it. It's how you say it. Is it going to happen every time that you're going to be so sweet and say, oh, my dear BT, I don't want to talk right now? Absolutely not. But when you have those moments where you lose your patience, you can come back. The nature of the child is beautiful. It's forgiving. It will always, more than likely, they will always say, oh, it's okay, I love you, and give you a big hug. But doing that, circling back, when we've lost our patience or when we've said something that we didn't mean, we just needed a moment, when we go back and revisit that moment with the child, it means so much. It communicates so much in that relationship. And that's a step that we often miss as parents because we're so busy going. And we put it off. When we have too many of those moments where we put it off, it builds. So now, after years and years and years, you have a habit. Now you have a habit. Because you think it doesn't matter. You think it's not affecting them. Then they become a teenager. And you wonder, why are all these problems with this teenager? Why are they this way? Why are they this way? Why are they that way? And all of a sudden they say, you don't listen to me. Or you don't understand me. You don't know what's... all these things. It's a practice. And another thing to remember, to have compassion for yourself, these are things that we may not have been taught growing up either. This is new for us too as a parent. It's okay for it to be new for us as a parent. Give yourself compassion. Always make space for that humanity in that relationship. Do we agree on that? Do we think that that's something that's making sense, that's important? Yeah. Alhamdulillah. Excellent. So, now that we have a good hold on communication and why that's so important, I wanted to revisit that power dynamic because it's important and it's useful. It's necessary and it's there for a reason. You can have a relationship with your child that is positive, that is engaging, and but you won't necessarily always be able to be their best friend. It's not necessarily healthy for you to be their best friend. They need guidance, they need structure. How do we deliver it to them? So I'll tell you guys a story about how my mother grew up. She tells me this all the time. She reminds me constantly of how different her upbringing is than how she raised us. In her upbringing, her household was because I said so. That's it. There's no conversation afterwards. I said do a thing, you do a thing. Has that been anyone's experience here as well? Yeah. And naturally, we raise our children probably the same way. Because, I mean, we turned out all right? It worked pretty much for us. But if we can remember as a child, that instance of having more questions, not to be disrespectful, just out of curiosity, just wanted to know why this thing is happening, but you weren't given that opportunity to ask those questions for different reasons, and that's okay. My mother, raising me and my siblings, it was still because I said so. That was first. Because we don't have time to explain all the time. Just do it at the moment. That's that power dynamic. That's necessary. What if it's a life or death situation? Do it because I said so. I need you to get this done. We're on a time limit because I said so. But then she would come back around and give me the opportunity to ask questions for understanding, because that understanding sinks in deeper. When you all are not around with your children, they know, they have the knowledge, and they remember, oh, mom said this, dad said this because of this. They're not going to go out and say, I don't want to do that because I don't like how they said that to me. I'm going to rebel, you know? Those things come up. Because I said so works. I'm not going to say it doesn't, and I'm not going to say it's not important. Giving the child opportunity to converse with you, to ask conversations, to talk with you, that communication is what is in the center of that relationship, because it's an exchange. It's an exchange. You tell me to do something? Okay, no problem. Mama, why do we do this? Dad, why do we do that? Maybe not right there is not the right time. We can tell them that this is not the right time. Maybe later on I will talk to you about that thing. Give them that opportunity. Communication is super important. Even when implementing our rules, even when expressing patience, we're losing patience, or the need for patience, because they need patience too. Even when we need to convey understanding, our goals and values, how we do that, when we do that is very, very important. That is one of the things to really focus on when we think about how to foster a relationship. The exchange. The exchange. Does that make sense? Inshallah. Okay. So, the last thing I wanted to leave you all with before I open up for questions, because I want to make sure we have at least a good amount of time for questions and comments. There is, if you all are interested, and I will put it here on the board for you all. Put it this side. So there is, and it's a useful tool that I often use for my clients and the parents when I do family counseling, is just to give you an insight into what your style of parenting is. So it's called the parenting style, and there are 4 different types. 4 parenting styles. This is useful information if you're interested. Simple Google, lots of information comes up about that. If you want to look at how your best parenting style might work, knowing how you parent and what might be the easiest or the most efficient way to do so with a particular child, these styles. One child might need a little bit something different than the other child. So it helps to know how you naturally parent. It may be similar to your parents. It may be the complete opposite of your parents. One child might need a little more discipline than the next. Another one might need a little bit less. They might need a little more gentleness. You can't use the same for all. So this is very helpful if you all are interested. A simple Google search will bring up many, many information about it, okay? Inshallah. Inshallah, I will happily, inshallah, happily. Okay, then lastly, in closing so I can open up for questions, I just want to remind you all that the key to any relationship, including parent-child relationship, is balance. This is easier than we say it, but always leave room to foster that relationship, to recognize your own humanity, your own flaws, have compassion for yourself if you make mistakes. Parenting is hard. Wallahi, it's hard. So have compassion for yourself, and they will see that in you, and they will reflect that back to you, inshallah. Do we feel that good energy from that? Alhamdulillah. Wonderful. So I want to open up for questions and comments. Please feel free, and I will turn this off so that they can. Yeah.
Thank you very much. We are concerning the communication between the parents and their child or their children. In fact, there are not two persons, but there are three persons between the parent and their child. Excuse me, first, I am not good in English like you. There is the parent, the child, and the third part is the interaction between the both. Why? Because the parent has can has effects on his child, and the child can has effects on his parents. Okay. What we can the benefits from communicating with the others in general and the children in specifically is that when we listen to our child, in fact, we increase their self-esteem and self-confidence. And you know, in your job, most children who suffer from psychological difficulties have lower self-esteem and lower self-confidence. At the same time, when we talk to the others or when we listen to the others are a mirror for us. We understand ourselves more and more. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Oh, okay, there we go. Was everyone able to hear the brother? Yes, he said made a beautiful point. The interaction is the middle piece. And that's the part that we usually don't pay enough attention to. What's happening in the middle? We usually only think about what I'm saying, what I have to say. Listen to me. What's being given back to us? Excellent point, thank you.
Jazakallah khairan for this small workshop. We're hoping it should take like half a day. But I'm gonna ask for another lecture addressing communication, the art of communication. That's the problem. How to communicate, emotional, behavioral, cognitive behavior. That's the key. If you can have some time and give us a workshop on how to communicate, the best way to communicate. Jazakallah khairan.
No, it's okay. It's okay. Absolutely, yeah. Communication is a whole nother thing in itself. That's a whole topic by itself. Inshallah, we will definitely talk more about that and how to actually do that in not just this relationship, but many of them, inshallah.
Assalamu alaikum. Especially in our culture, I feel like our parents want to be involved with us, and as we grow up throughout our lives, which is obviously it's very natural and it's a good thing. But my question was, does the parenting style change as the child gets older? Does that interaction, the middle piece, does it evolve with time, or how does that work?
Excellent question. It should. I would hope so. Yeah, it does, right? I would hope so. It does, right?
I'm done.
I'll, so, I'll say. Yeah, so he's just mentioning that absolutely it does that. The parents change and they grow as well, especially based on each phase of life, as we know, ourselves growing has different challenges. The stage, particularly the stage of, let's say about toddler to, ooh, really, well, he's about 25. Okay. There's different challenges for each bracket. Inshallah, we'll have another one about those if you all are interested. But parenting style absolutely changes according to the challenges the child gives to you, and they give you different ones all the time, especially now.
Assalamu alaikum. So, in the same topic of parenting styles, and you mentioned that when we have multiple kids, especially, we should have different skills parenting each one of them. Is there any special skills that we should acquire, especially for the middle child, with that middle child crisis?
Yes. Would you believe that in our studies of counseling and psychology, there's a whole thing about a middle child. There's a whole thing about birth order of children, first, the middle, and the oldest, and those all in between. Yes, there's a lot to be said about that. Yes, it's a lot to be said about birth orders, but really what it is, it's just the children, depending on where they fall in the line of age and line of birth, they tend to have different responsibilities for the oldest, right, versus the youngest. More attention is usually given to the youngest because they're the youngest. The oldest is usually the one helping out mom. So what's happening with the middle one? They are usually lost somewhere doing something, right? So that's the challenge, is just incorporating them into either side. If they want to have more attention, like the youngest, mashallah. If they would like to be more helpful, mashallah. So it depends on that child, but usually that's the thing with the middle child. They kind of get lost a little bit in everything that's going on. Not intentionally, it's just you're stuck in the middle.
The adolescents. Yeah. Some advice regarding how to deal with adolescents. Best relationships. Should we keep them do whatever they want? Because we don't want to get into arguments. Once we get into arguments, it goes far away, you know. So, thank you.
Adolescence, as we know, especially in Islam, there's a stage where the child is beginning to come from under our wings. They begin to make their own decisions and do things on their own accord, like they know so much, right? And it's a trying time. That's usually where the most strain comes for all parents around the world. And that's because they're starting to see more of the world and less of you as their world. The only advice I would say is trust the parenting and the guidance that you gave them during those early years. Continue to offer that guidance, but also understand that they are becoming more and more of their self every day. And fighting against that self usually is more difficult. If you're having something particularly challenging, always seek support, because you're as a parent, you want to make sure they're safe and they're making the best decisions. So if there's something that's particularly challenging, especially I'm from America, but I always, especially for my populations that have come from other countries, I always make sure to let you all know certain challenges are more prevalent here, as you all know, than in other countries, and you don't want to let that slip. So if there's particular challenges that the adolescent phase is bringing to you, seek more support, whether that be from family or professional. But for that adolescent stage, you want to engage them in that as much as possible, because they are starting to see themselves as their own person. So overriding that individuality will give you a lot of pushback, a lot of rebellion typically. So try to engage them, try to invite them into the process of whatever they're going through. I think we should seek more help. I think we should talk to someone about this so that you're okay, or however that looks. Inshallah, hopefully that provides a little bit. I know that, inshallah. A lot to be said about adolescence. Yeah. Yeah, welcome to teenage years. Yes, we have one here, and we have some sisters over here, inshallah.
Assalamu alaikum. Going back to communication, my question is, how do you communicate to your young child when you have a kind of a short window of time? Like, for example, we're getting ready for school, and you're trying to communicate with your child. Okay, you need to do this. How do you communicate with them effectively without, losing your temper and because of that short period of time?
Yeah, very trying. How to communicate in short windows of time where we don't have a lot of time to explain everything. You do it ahead of time. You do it when you have the time. So if you haven't already had those conversations, in the morning before school is not the time to have them. Everyone's gonna be a mess. Find a time where it's calmer in the day, where there's downtime, maybe on the weekend, and sit down and say, I want to discuss with you about this thing. Practice your morning routine on that day. It can be in the middle of the day, doesn't matter. So let's practice going to school. Make it a game. Children love play. Play with them. If you want to communicate something, especially with a young child, put it into a game. They will catch it. But never try to avoid teaching in a hurry, because you'll lose your patience quicker. Everyone will. Child too. And it's just no good. So try to find calmer windows of time, inshallah. Did that help?
Assalamu alaikum. Are we talking about all ages, the kids? Yeah. What makes us right and the kids are wrong? Huh? Because we grew up in the countries that we weren't heard. We grew up in a wrong. We have to accept that. We grew up damaged. To be honest. No, we have to admit that. We grew up damaged. No, we are. From school, from school, from outside, from the house, everywhere. Yes. No. Well, if you don't admit that, how are you going to raise a kid? Right? And another thing, I believe if you give your kid love and understanding, you see your mirror in that kid. Like we say in Moroccan way, لزرعتي تحصده. That's it. Thank you.
Correct. Yeah, he said what you harvest is what you plant. What you plant is what you harvest. Okay. Got it. Yeah, we say you reap what you sow. We say that one. Yes. That's very true. So she admitted something that's hard to admit because we love our parents, right? And we would never want to speak anything against them, right? It's not to say anything against it. It's just observing what we can do for our children. It's nothing against our own parents, right? So, but what the sister said is absolutely correct. Yeah, understanding is important. What you reap is what you sow. Inshallah, we'll keep that in mind.
Jazakallahu khairan. I have one comment and one question. The one second, he wants to.
Yeah, okay. Thank you very much. Yeah. I respond to Madame. Yes, she talks about love. In fact, between parents and their children, there is love and there is love. There is love with good taste and there is love with bad taste. In fact, sometimes, and this is a thing that many parents ignore, when a parent is very stressed, when a parent suffers from psychological difficulties, it is very difficult to communicate, and even if we communicate with our children, we can make them stressed and also ill like us. We say, and it is very known by psychologists, that if a mother is depressed, she can give food for their children, but she can't give the real love. Then sometimes we ask ourselves as parents, sometimes our children don't want to do what we say to them to do. Sometimes we don't respond, and so on. Because you, as a parent, you are very stressed or sometimes ill, psychological, and you don't know. And the communication is bad, like toxic. Okay, thank you very much.
Yes, absolutely. Again, he's touching on the point of that understanding. Understanding yourself and what you need as a parent. How can you pour from an empty cup? If you have nothing to give, and that goes for your child as well. If you don't have anything in your cup, you cannot give the best that you really want to give them. Of course you love them. This is not about whether you do or do not. It's about whether you have the capacity to give it. Whether you have it to give it to them. It's very important to do your best. Again, it's not easy. Do your best to take care of yourself as well as parents so that you can do your best for your child as well, inshallah. Very, very important. Very important.
You know, sometimes parents, they confuse between spoil and love. Sometimes we spoil our kids and we think we love them. There is a difference between love and spoiling your kids. That's what they need to understand. That's my point. Thank you.
All right, so no, you had your chance. Okay. I'm going to be the closing comments, and inshallah we will pray Isha, and we will go for dinner, inshallah. Jazakallah khair. You have the chance to talk to the sister after. Okay, I have one comment and one question. First comment is, and I firmly believe, I heard it from a scholar, the key to the relationship between parents and children is listening from the parent side. And he asked the question like, don't ask yourself if you are listening, because you definitely you're gonna say, yo, I do listen to my child. Ask your child if you are a good listener. So that's one thing. My question or my confusion is, I'm guilty as because I said so, and I am the product of my parents. And Alhamdulillah, I believe they raised me well, and I'm happy with who I am. And I've been asked in this country to use a different recipe that I don't know, and I don't trust the product I'm gonna get if I deviate from what I know. So I'm using what works, the path or that's been traveled. That's where we're coming from. How can I be sure that I am doing the right thing? If I have something that works and I'm the product of it, why would I change it?
Excellent question. Everything is not going to work for everybody. What's going to work, what works here, some it works fine. Others are just, voila, they need your upbringing. They need because I said so. If it's working for you, and just like you said, ask the child. Get their input. How have you been feeling lately? What do you think about how we do things? Allow them into that relationship. If you have good feedback, wonderful. There's no point in changing it. If they give you good feedback, pay attention to body cues too, I will say. Because if they're acting from someone mentioned fear that we wrote up there. Oh, you said fear? Oh, well, so we know now, okay. Yeah, so, yeah. So if you're asking that question, then there's a reason that you have that concern. So there may be reason that there may be some things you might want to look at. It does not mean you have to change everything, though. It doesn't mean you have to adopt a complete new thing. You can take from one that may work and add to what you have. Does that make sense?
Yes, but it's
yeah.
It's a new recipe.
Sure. That's where you trust. Right? There's no perfect recipe. Allah. There's no book. I wish I would come with a book and read from the book to you guys. So you just have to trust, and you have to make dua. Wallahi. Make dua. And go with what you feel is right. But if you have that sensation, that instinct, like maybe I should try something a little bit different, try that thing. It's telling you that for a reason. So try that thing, and inshallah it will work very well for you. Yeah, absolutely. Yes.
I think we should set expectations. Very important in dealing with kids, and don't wait till the last minute. I'll give you an example. Your daughter comes in, she's like, I want to go to the prom. You never talked about it before. You never set the expectations. You have to explain. You can't just say, no, you cannot go with Muslims. We don't do this. Because you didn't have that conversation a long time. All of a sudden, now, like she said, they're adolescent, right? They know better. Who are you to tell them? Because you didn't set expectation when they were young. This is what we do as Muslims. We don't do this. Before they go to high school, you sit them down. And you tell them, hey, this is what people do over here. Here's what we do. Here's what we don't do. And you explain, set expectations, give them some guidance, and explain to them why. Jazakumullah khair.
Yeah. Hard to keep up with, so. So it's hard.
So, yeah, so when we have young kids and it's the first time that we are parents, we try to raise them to the best of our ability. But depending on the personality of the person, the mother or the father can be either violent or, So as the kids grow, we feel that we harm them in a certain way. But these images, they stick in their mind, and they come up to you saying, you did this, you did that, and how can we erase these bad memories if we can? Thank you.
Just to close out, so what the sister said was really surrounding like discipline. So it's just Again, conversation. If you feel that you have done some harm to the relationship, revisit that situation. Don't be ashamed, don't be embarrassed to revisit a situation. If you feel like you made, go back, inshallah. Go back. It won't erase it, but it will allow you an opportunity to discuss it. And it does wonders for healing, inshallah. Thank you all so much for coming and showing up for yourself and for your families. Inshallah, we'll come together again and
Very much, Sister Aya. It was a wonderful workshop. Thanks for everybody for joining us. Please support ICNA Relief. They have a banquet December the 2nd. Brothers have the ticket. We might have some tickets for the sisters. It should be a good program. 2 speakers. Brother Imam Abdullah Farouk and Sheikh Shamikh Saada. And sincerity through sacrifice. So thank you very much again. We will pray Isha inshallah, and after that we will go for dinner downstairs.
الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر